So yesterday, something big happened, and that is that Russian President Vladimir Putin, he declared martial law in 4 annexed regions of Ukraine. This includes the Donetsk region, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. Those are the regions, now I probably butchered the names, but those are the regions that Vladimir Putin decided to declare martial law in. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions because this was yesterday morning. I've been getting a lot of questions since then. What does this mean to the American people? Should Americans be worried? Well, I want to address that, but I also want to provide you with some facts that are currently going on. The fact that Ukraine has gained some ground in recent weeks, this has actually caused Vladimir Putin to take some additional steps of escalation. And now we're getting reports that Russian diplomats are actually being pulled from Western nations, which is one of the first signs that things aren't going well. Things are going south when their diplomats aren't even willing to talk and discuss and negotiate. That's a problem. We also saw on Monday that 2 Russian bombers were actually intercepted off the coast of Alaska. We are also seeing that there's the largest Russian nuclear submarine, the Belgorod. This is still out at sea, and over the past handful of days, we have started to see a handful of satellite images of nuclear bombers at an Air Force base or an air base near the borders of Finland and Norway. Again, these are not good. Another major problem is that there are also simultaneous nuclear exercises being conducted both by NATO and Russia. These are being conducted at the exact same time over the rest of this month. And the big issue here is any wrong move, any misstep could be construed as an attack by the other, which obviously would fuel a full-scale war. Then we also have Poland, Belarus, and even Switzerland. They're all preparing for a nuclear attack in one way or another. They're preparing their citizens, they're preparing their bunkers, they're just getting prepared. Here in the United States, something that the U.S. government has done over recent months is the U.S. government is preparing, and out of caution, they say they're purchasing $290 million worth of iodine pills. Now, why would they buy iodine pills? Well, iodine pills would help in case of radiation. And the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, they also said, and I quote, as part of long-standing ongoing efforts to be better prepared to save lives following radiological and nuclear emergencies, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is purchasing a supply of the drug Nplate from Amgen USA Inc. Nplate is approved to treat blood cell injuries that accompany acute radiation syndrome, or ARS, in adult and pediatric patients. So they are purchasing a pill that has already been approved to treat blood cell injuries that accompany acute radiation syndrome. Yeah. Again, and this large purchase, this was done before October 4th. Okay? This was done before then. And this was before Russians declared martial law. This was before Russian diplomats were being pulled from Western nations. And this was before we saw more movement of nuclear weapons. Now, should Americans be worried about a possible nuclear attack on the United States? The answer to that question is yes and no. Should Americans be worried about a possible nuclear attack on the United States? No. Should Americans be worried about a possible nuclear attack? Yes. If there is a nuclear attack on the United States, this would create a full-scale world war. Nobody wants that. Now, just to give you an idea, New York City has also already launched a campaign a few months back. They are telling their citizens exactly what to do in the event of an attack. And it's actually something pretty simple. Stay inside, reduce your exposure to radiation, stay in the middle room of your home or apartment if it's possible, and just remain informed through television, radio, and the internet. But here's the most likely threat to Americans. The most likely threat that Americans would actually face would come from an attack on Ukraine and radiation spilling over into a NATO country. That is the biggest threat, the most likely threat at this point. Now, why is this such a big deal, right? Well, as of right now, President Biden has said that an attack on one NATO member would be an attack on all NATO members, which includes the United States. Here's the problem. The problem is that NATO and the United States are being slowly depleted of our resources, of our military equipment, right? Of ammunition. And Russia knows this. So does Iran, so does China, so do other countries. If the United States continues down this path and sends just stockpiles of military equipment to Ukraine, we are going to see our stockpile get lower and lower, and eventually we will be the ones that are weak and vulnerable. That's according to multiple experts. Now, it would be at this time that China would likely attempt to take over Taiwan. Guess what? The United States doesn't want China to take over Taiwan. But if we keep depleting our resources, then we cannot step in and help protect Taiwan. Now, Russia could potentially try to take more than just parts of Ukraine. And NATO, at that point, would be done for. This is the real threat. This is the real threat that we are facing here in the United States. It's, okay, what are we doing, and are we looking weak? Some say yes. Some say President Biden doesn't have the stomach to do this, to take on Russia, to take on China, to take on Saudi Arabia, right, or Iran. He just doesn't have it. Now, a lot of people have said that this isn't going to happen. Right? Nobody, the United States isn't going to get involved here. But I think the United States is. I just want to give you a little more information here about a potential war. I had a handful of community members just the other day tell me that their family members were being rerouted to Poland. Both were supposed to go and be deployed over in Germany, but got different orders. One person told me just this morning that they haven't heard from their recruitment officer, they haven't heard from their superiors, nothing, right? They're inactive. But that they and multiple friends of theirs, multiple people that were deployed with them when they were active, they all got letters saying that they needed to update their current information, right? Update their their children's information, their spouse, where they live, just health conditions, things like that. That's interesting. That they haven't heard from their superiors in quite some time, and now they get a letter saying, "Hey, we need your updated information." I don't want to read too much into that, but that would be somewhat concerning if that were me. So, that's what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Just want to provide you with this quick little update because I know a lot of people have been asking, since martial law has been declared, what does this mean to the American people? And should we be worried? So hopefully this video helped you out. Hopefully this answered some of those questions. And again, as we know more information, I promise I will fill you in on all the latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.